So I just received the latest issue of American Ancestors magazine. This is from the New England Historical Genealogical Society, and this is probably one of the most important issues of this magazine I've ever received, and that's because of the 10 Million Names project. This is a special issue talking about this project, and this project is probably one of the most important American genealogy efforts ever made anywhere. And I know there's been a lot of really important efforts made in terms of, DNA or family trees, public records and things like that. But this gets to something, I think, which is super important to many people in this country whose ancestors were enslaved. And basically what it is it proposes to recover the names of the 10 million people enslaved in America and to restore those names to their families and to history. And for people whose ancestors were enslaved, there is a huge barrier to finding out this information currently. So what the organizers of this particular project have done is they've come up with some flagship projects to identify the types of records that may yield to information that can determine who the people were who were enslaved, get their actual names. So there's records of enslaved laborers on the plantation, there's military records, veterans, people who served in the Civil War or other wars who may have some information of themselves or their ancestors' status as being enslaved, records of mariners, migrants, and freedom seekers, other community organizations, and then also testimonials after emancipation. For instance, I believe the WPA in the 1930s, they had a project where they recorded interviews with, at that time, very old people who were enslaved when they were younger. So there are sources of information. This magazine, it gives lots of information about the effort, including some of the people who've lent their support to helping to guide this particular project. Richard Cellini, he was involved with the Georgetown Slavery Project. Some of you may be aware of that. And of course, everybody knows Henry Louis Gates and his wonderful TV show. He's very experienced as well, and he's lent his support, as well as Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. So there's lots of information in this particular episode of the magazine, and there's also a website that you can go to find out more information. One thing that I intend to do as time goes on is figure out ways that everybody can help to contribute to this particular project. There's so much work to be done in terms of finding and examining records and also surfacing records. Maybe some people's families, they have records that they can share, or in the course of doing research for your own family, you stumble upon records that may be useful to building up support and helping other people who are trying to find the names of ancestors who were enslaved.